pleased to be joined by Caroline Conti and head coach Emma Coates. Once again, we'll let Coach make a quick statement, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for obviously being here, guys. Really good opportunity and experiences for us tonight. Obviously pleased to get the win. As I said to the girls after, I'll be shooting practice next week. But really important opportunity for us to, get minutes and opportunities to those that haven't had as many in the first block of the season, and great to get some of our BDR and some of the youth players involved as well, and get them sort of fully embedded with us.
All right, Paula.
Paula Maruli, Tenerife, California. This is the first time for BFC playing with the Canadian team. How did you adapt quick to play tonight? Thank you.
Yeah, I think obviously everything, because we're trying to develop such a clear style of play. The focus was on us tonight in terms of executing our principles, some of the systems and structures that we want. And obviously we knew a little bit about them coming into the game, but they're in pre-season and trying new things. So the message to the players was around our processes and how we prepared for the game throughout the week was consistent how we would prepare for an NWSL game. But the first 5-10 minutes of the game, we really had to assess what questions they were posing us, and then obviously sort of adjust within our structures from there.
Especially, Emma, you are missing 11 players that are in international duty. What was the process and criteria to choose players for tonight's game?
Yeah, I mean, the priority was to get minutes into those that haven't had as many minutes in Block 1. And I thought we obviously dosed a lot of opportunities out there tonight. And, we've had a lot of training players supporting our preparation this week, with us missing so many in the international break. And we wanted to give them and reward their effort this week. And as I say, I think the kids have give a great account of themselves.
Caroline, this is from you. Congratulations for your goal.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your determination to execute the penalty for the team.
Yeah, I love penalty kicks. I think they're so fun. I love training them every single day. If there's a time to do a penalty in a training, I'm first one to raise my hand. But I think it's a lot of just preparation and just doing it over and over and over again, and just being confident in myself and just picking the side and going and executing.
Besides the goal, what do you know about playing with Ottawa? What do you know about playing with this Canadian team?
Yeah, they presented a different, we've never played them before, so it was fun to adapt and figure out their shape and how we could break them down. And playing with different players, also some of the younger players, was fun as well, connecting with them, having a fun week of training leading up to it. But yeah, I think it was a great time to get some minutes and present the challenge that we had, and we executed that to win.
Coach, you got to see some of the players that you don't get to see normally, including in a greater role, taking the final third kicks, the corners, all of that, and of course the penalty by Caroline there. What did you see tonight that you really like? What were you surprised about that you got out of some of the younger players tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's nothing that surprised me about the performance. While the players, some of the players haven't had obviously tons of opportunities in the league. I see what they do day in, day out, and that was all consistent what we see. I guess in training. I guess what I like to be able to do is just sort of have a look at a couple of different connections and make sure that people are fit, fresh, and ready for the next block of the season. I think I actually nearly celebrated. I thought that corner was going to go in. Nearly want to keep it. It's over. She's been practicing that this week. Anyway, so we obviously got that, and then some of the younger players that come in, I thought Drew in particular at fullback, done really well. Alex, who started centre half, and thought again Grace that came into the middle, really calm, really composed. So I think some of the youth players that have been with us and they've been sort of in and out across pre-season, it was great to sort of give them the test of, okay, we see what they do in training, can they then execute that in a first team environment, in a stadium, with an atmosphere and that little bit of pressure. And I thought some of them really rose to that, and that's a great lesson for us in terms of some of the youth players that are on our radar.
Because some of the things that we were noticing with the bird's eye view is Caroline taking command with the kids tonight. Kelly looking like she's been running that back line forever. And I think the biggest thing that we noticed that was just kind of one of those wow is the not thinking, just doing play of Carly Lima tonight.
Yeah.
That for a couple of, she's had some brilliant moments, but she looks like she's holding back a little bit, and tonight she just looked like she played free. Is that something you talked about all week?
Yeah, I'd say you'd probably talk about that right from pre-season, if I'm honest. The style of play we're trying to implement is one that we have our principles, we have different structures that we play in, and we want players to be able to make decisions, be brave with that, and be sort of fluid within the structures. And a lot of our creativity starts from structure, and I thought some of the structures looked good tonight. I thought some of their fluidity was nice, and as I say, we want players to go and play with freedom, and I think that gets sort of fans on the edge of their seats as well. And so I'm glad that you guys are noticing that, because I agree. I thought Kelly held the line really well. She was bumping players, nudging them, holding the line. I thought Caroline and Tess sort of like playing in the pockets, coming and playing. Carly running the line off, and for how much possession we had, we'll always be disappointed that we didn't score more goals. But some of our style was really on show tonight, particularly from an in-possession point of view.
And so, Caroline, you're not always the focal point of all those final third kicks and such in the NWSL regular season. How did you feel the adjustment tonight, and how did you feel that you adapted to the added load tonight?
I think it just goes back to training, just doing it in training and being confident and consistent, and just going and executing myself and knowing that my teammates on the field have my back. And yeah, I think it's just a lot of repetitions. When you get out on the field, you're not really thinking. It's just natural, and you're just doing, and hope that your teammates get on the end of those crosses, or yeah, I just comes to repetition, confidence.
Emma, for you, from College Bear Sports Wrap. This was obviously a measuring stick for Ottawa to go up against you guys to get them ready for their season to start. So, since you guys have already been in a few games down into this season, was this treated more like a preseason type game, or how was this treated, and what expectations did you have going into it?
Yeah, I guess sort of like with any game, I always come back to what are we trying to achieve from a style and a game plan point of view, and how we approached it pre-season games and how we approached NWSL games has been consistent. I'm a really process-driven coach, and I'd say the week has been consistent right from probably the first week that we came through the door in January. So I think from how we prepared and how it's different, it was exactly the same. From an expectation going into the game, I say the priority was making sure that we prepared the full squad for the next block of the season. The next block of the season is a really dense one. The depth of the squad's going to be really important. So to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to play and be fit, fresh and ready for the next part of the season again was really important. They posed some different challenges, and as I say, I thought we played well tonight, and everything just comes back to us and what we're trying to achieve.
So the expectations, would you say, were met or they exceeded?
It's like any game. I don't think you can meet and exceed expectations for a full 90-minute period. I think there's moments we looked really good. I thought there was moments that we could have been better. I thought our ball speed could have been sharper. I thought we could have been a little bit more dynamic at times. Was the ball speed good at times? Absolutely. Was the movement dynamic at times? Absolutely. And I think the bit that we're trying to push as a team and as a squad is just to play at the level I know we can for more consistent periods. And did we have periods today? Absolutely. Did we create lots of chances? Absolutely. Could we have scored more goals? Definitely. Were we happy with the win? Yes. Do we know that we could have done more? Yes. And I think that's a sign of a team that really cares about making progress and improvement. We're never satisfied. We just want to keep getting better. And
Caroline, was your confidence with these corner kicks, and then of course, obviously you live for the penalty kicks, but is that something that will strengthen your game going forward, like when you get on there and in the regular season games?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having the confidence to step up in big moments, because those can be winning games or losing game moments. And I think just, again, going back to training, there's a few of us that take corners after every training session, and just being able to get up to the corner, take a breath, deliver it like I know I can, definitely brings confidence in myself, and hopefully can help the team later on the road.
And how did you feel that Alex and Tuesday in the back line? You guys signed, they're getting their first starts this season as well. So how do you feel like they played?
I think they did great. They fit in very well. I felt very confident being on Drew's side, knowing that she had my back if I stepped out, that she was going to cover me. Even with Alex, I think she did well with Kelly next to her as well. But yeah, I think they stepped up. They had a great game today, and very proud of them.
Thank you.
And
Nate Wilmington with Spartan Daily. Coach, can you talk about, even though you were able to create a lot of opportunities in the box and around the net and weren't able to finish them, that's a very positive thing, and how do you carry that over into next week?
Yeah, I think how we carry it over firstly is recognising the process that got us those opportunities. Sometimes it's easy to go, okay, we didn't score enough goals, but as I say, some of the build-up play in the areas that we wanted to produced from, I thought was really good and consistent with the areas that we want to get into. I also think sometimes they're like buses. Sometimes you score one, they come off like your shoulder, your nose, your knee. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes you end up scoring beautiful goals. And as I say, I think the way that we're trying to work and build the team is we know we're very good when we have the ball and the game sort of in structure and how we control the game with the ball. I thought we did that really well tonight. Now the challenge is how do we carry that into the Gotham game where it'll be similar from a structure and a tactical point of view in terms of how Ottawa played out of possession. I'd say is similar from a structure point of view. However, the speed, the intensity, the press, the amount of pressure we'll be under will be very different. So it's around how do we use that as a platform to then build that into the Gotham game. So it's a great stepping stone into the next block of the season.
Mm-hmm. And then can you talk about how much confidence you have in Caroline to finish off into the penalty kick?
Oh yeah, I mean I see her do it all the time after training. And there's a couple that sort of step up, and I have full confidence in Caroline's process, sort of a finishing technique and everything in there. And same from a set play delivery, as I say, from whether it's the corners in the delivery zone. You're sort of working on the in-swinging ones. The back end of last week we tweaked a little bit on the run up and the adjustment. I seen you take the extra step, which was good. And as I say, when you see the players do it day in day out at training, nothing surprises me. I have complete confidence in all my players, all the squad. The bit for us now is just to again apply that consistently in pressurised moments.
I guess I have, as I'm sitting here kind of realizing something, that over the last several seasons of this team, the issue sometimes has been getting the goals, but more the issue has been conceding, especially late.
Mm-hmm.
How are you looking at this game and some of the games that have been this year when you're not conceding and when you're able to control that play and not let anyone near your goalkeeper? Because I think Emmy had to make two saves, both of them kind of routine,
Mm-hmm.
nothing super leverage where you're like, ooh, at it. And what do you think about that play tonight? Because that's kind of been the Achilles heel of the team over the longer
Yeah,
stretch.
I mean, we'd love to keep them away from our goal and goalkeeper at all times, never mind just in the final stages. I think the best thing about football for me is the complexity of the game, the emotion of the game, the speed of it, and mistakes as well. When you're a fan and you're watching it, it's the end-to-end nature. And I think when you come to the latter stage of the game, players are tired, decision making can sort of waver, and that for us is where we come back to. We always think, how do we start a game really strong? How do we control the rhythm and momentum in the main period of the game? And then the last 15 minutes is how do we end really strong? We've got different strategies for that, and it's a big part that we're working on. And as I say, I've not been in the door 3 months, and I'm hoping that everyone can see the progress that we're making, and that is absolutely something we're working on. How do we end games? How do the players come in to impact the game? So there's personnel things with that. There's also some bits that we're working on from like a structure point of view. As staff, we always have a meeting on a match day to go, okay, how are we going to end the game? Different scenarios. What does that look like? Who's going to come into the game? What might it look like structurally? And as I say, I think a lot of that also comes with confidence as well. So I think, as I say, we're building, and the fact that we didn't concede tonight, particularly in those later moments, was really nice, particularly in a friendly like this when there's lots of different changes. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and speaking of which, you had a lot of interchangeable pieces tonight, but it seemed like the pressure and the structure stayed consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you feeling about that, going back to the room, talking to everybody, especially the players that are not normally with the team?
Yeah, really. I think for me it's a really good sign, right? We've had some players training with us they've done a week with us, and the fact that they've picked up our style of play, our identity, our principles so quickly, for me is a sign that the players have got clarity in their role. And I think when you build clarity and you remove the ambiguity of someone's role, I think that's when players can start to play with freedom and they don't have to think, alluding to your point from earlier. So for me, that's just a sign that we're building a really clear style of play, and it's easy for players to comfort into. And big respect for our senior players that have integrated the players so quickly and had their back and brought them into the environment really well. So I think it's just a big well done to everyone.
All right. Well, that's it for us. We are back in action, regular season play next week at Gotham. Thanks, everybody.